I feel like these days in Apex, heirlooms have really lost their way, but a lot of you might not know their weird history and the moments Respawn actually gave people free heirloom shards. So let's go over the evolution of heirlooms, because honestly, this surprised me. A lot of you might not know, Wraith's heirloom came out the second the game dropped, so Wraith's heirloom had no collection event, and Respawn actually didn't figure out collection events until Season 2, where we got our very first collection event called the Iron Crown event. And this event is absolutely infamous, but there's one strange thing that will probably annoy you, as the Iron Crown event is infamous in Apex history because it was very controversial. Why was it controversial? Well, the only way you could get skins is randomly through Apex packs, and also when you finished the collection event, you had to pay $37 on top to get the Bloodhound heirloom. You wouldn't automatically receive it after spending $160 on this event. It was a rip-off, and so many people complained, Respawn had to release an apology saying that they had missed the mark, which is very strange because I can think of an event right now where you can only get stuff through packs and it's very expensive, and they haven't apologized for that one yet. Weird. With everything they'd learned from the Iron Crown event and all of the complaints, Respawn started work on the Fight or Fright collection event, which will be the first collection event in Apex history that will become the standard for what a collection event should be. Basically, you could buy any single item you wanted to, but if you bought all 24 of the items, you would get an heirloom on the side, which is what we all know today. And the Fight or Fright collection event came with the Lifeline shock sticks. These were officially the second heirloom in Apex, but at the time, there was an issue. There was no mythic store in the game, and there wouldn't be for a bit, so if you wanted a specific heirloom, you just had to get really lucky. So say if you wanted Wraith's kunai, you had to hope first of all that you got the 1 in 500 heirloom, and also on top that it wasn't Lifeline shock sticks and it was the kunai. After the Halloween collection event, we got the Christmas collection event, which would release Pathfinder's heirloom. And you might not know it, but Pathfinder's heirloom bundle actually does something that no other heirloom does. It has a kill quip instead of an intro quip for the voice line, and that was the only heirloom that did that. Otherwise, it was a fairly well received collection event, albeit with a few quirks, and people didn't mind it too much, so Respawn carried on. And the next collection event they released is very important, because if we didn't have this feature, we would be mad. This collection event is the System Override collection event, which I still think is one of the best collection events ever, and it brought Octane's heirloom, but also the Mythic store. So now if you wanted an heirloom, you could buy it individually with the newly released heirloom shards. Yeah, heirloom shards didn't exist until Season 4. That still blows a few people's minds. And it stopped situations like this happening, where people who just had no interest in characters like Bloodhound would get a Bloodhound heirloom. Luckily, we don't have to go through that anymore.
It's the heirloom for the Wraith!
After this event, for a few seasons, the heirloom evolution honestly stays very steady. We got heirlooms for characters like Mirage and Gibraltar until we got to Season 8, where we had a one-of-a-kind collection event that people still feel PTSD from to this day, because it was the Season 8 anniversary collection event, and in this collection event, they were selling heirloom shards as the final reward. The issue was, these heirloom shards were dreadfully glitched, to the point where if you unpacked shards after buying out the whole event, it would reset your heirloom pack counter, which is very bad, because if you're not aware, every single player in Apex has a guaranteed heirloom shard drop after 500 packs opened in Apex. So say you'd open 499 packs, and then you quickly buy this event, get its heirloom shards, and open another pack, your guarantee would be gone, and years of spending would be ruined. This quickly became a big issue in Apex, and Respawn felt so bad they gave everybody affected by this 5 free packs. And on top of this, if Respawn found out this glitch prevented you from getting your heirloom shards, they would also just straight up give you heirloom shards for free, which was really good of them. And believe it or not, at another point in this season, Respawn were also dishing out free heirloom shards, but for another reason, because in Season 8 there was a major glitch going on where people just couldn't log into the game, and this was affecting a huge amount of people, and it was like kind of unexplainable, because why would you just not be able to log into the game? And this glitch was so severe, it got to the point where some players weren't able to enter the game for months, and Respawn felt so bad for these select players who couldn't get in for a very long time, they gave these players free coins and free shards. That makes me wonder though, would you quit Apex for like 2 months to get free shards? Past this point in the evolution of heirlooms though, it starts to get a little bit weird, because 2 seasons later in Season 10, Respawn released a new type of event called a Thematic event, where any of the skins that were sold in this event could be crafted after the event ends. The one they released in Season 10 called monsters within had no heirloom being sold in it, which was pretty strange, but Respawn would take advantage of this in the future. Moving on though, 2 seasons later in season 12, Apex changes up the heirloom game massively. Now anything that's under red tier rarity, including things like the Kraber, are renamed from heirloom tier to mythic tier, and this change was done in the anticipation to release a new red tier rarity thing: prestige skins. The first official prestige skin, which was the Bloodhound prestige skin, made its debut in the season 12 anniversary event, and they were pretty strange. Nobody really knew how to receive them. They were the same price as heirlooms, but at the end of the day, they were just 3 legendary skins that came with a finisher. Like, these skins didn't even evolve in game or anything. They were quite awful, but our fates had been sealed. Prestige skins were officially part of Apex Legends, and in the next season we would get our second prestige skin for Bangalore, but this time it was sold in a thematic event. This thematic event was the Gaiden event, and it was really cool because it had an anime theme, but something strange happened. After this event, Respawn never released a thematic event again. It's 7 seasons later and we've not seen one, so it's safe to assume they clearly didn't earn enough money from this, so they just discontinued them. Rest in peace, because these events were actually way more ethical than collection events because you could craft a lot of skins in these. And that marks the point of Apex's monetization getting a bit funky, because the next event of note was in season 16 in the Imperial Guard event, where everyone's favourite heirloom recolor released. These were very cool, honestly. It came with an heirloom recolor, a banner frame, and also a mythic emote, which Respawn would later change. The reception to these was pretty good because they were honestly fairly solid and brought new animations to the heirloom, but I think nowadays people have become a bit more jaded with these heirloom recolors. 1 season later though, Respawn would make an attempt to make prestige skins look more attractive to the average consumer, and added exclusive dive trails to these prestige skins that could be used on any skin. Unfortunately, this also came with the removal of ranked trails, so monetization won again, and at this point in the heirloom evolution, heirlooms kind of start to feel a bit bleak, because 1 season later in season 18 we would get our most recent legend heirloom, which was for Fuse, and it was a pretty solid heirloom. Honestly, not my favourite, but I can see why people like it. The sad thing is, this was 2 seasons ago, meaning we are now currently experiencing the biggest legend heirloom drought that we've seen yet, which is pretty sad. Hopefully we get a new legend heirloom soon. Jumping 1 season ahead, Respawn decided to change heirloom recolors a bit and replace the mythic emote with a finisher, and they did this on the crypto heirloom recolor, which weirdly enough wasn't released in any type of event and just suddenly appeared in the mythic store, which is kind of strange. This is like the most neglected heirloom to ever release. In the same season, Respawn introduced a new type of mythic, which isn't technically an heirloom, but you know, it's basically an heirloom, and it was the Buster Sword. This one had some very limited factors to it, like the fact Respawn said once this event is over it will never come back, giving it definitely a big element of FOMO, but also at the same time it was the most expensive item to ever hit Apex, along with the new type of mythic, Death Box Recolors. God, how far we've fallen. 1 season after this, which is, hey, this season, Respawn released the Cobalt Guitar, which is apparently part of a new series of heirlooms called Apex Artifacts. The sad thing is, the rumours going around right now, which are rumours, are saying that legend-specific heirlooms are cancelled for the foreseeable future while these Apex Artifacts release. And now, we're just waiting to see what happens, honestly. There's a lot of leaks going about, but I don't really know what's true. And unfortunately, I think this is one of those things we're just going to have to wait out and see how it goes. And hopefully Respawn see the criticism people are giving them. So, which season do you think it all went wrong in for Apex Heirlooms? Or do you think it's all going right now? And subscribe if you like this type of thing.